Sup, Buzznet? In reference to the podcast, back for episode 11. 11. First and foremost, before we go too far, I just want to say that this is the first time we're recording since releasing any episodes, and so we would just like to throw out a huge thank you to all of those who have downloaded our podcast and followed us on Instagram and
Twitter.
We have a Twitter now. I caved and made a Twitter. We also have a Patreon / in reference to. We have $2, $5, $10, and $20 donations. And the rewards are posted. My name is Amanda.
Oh, and I'm Heather. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Oh, I thought you did.
Oh, did I? Well,
I zoned out. You might have, I don't know.
If we did,
We're
now
just
you know
reintroducing.
twice. If we didn't, now you at least know. Anyway, this is a hashtag Freaky Friday episode.
It is a hashtag. I didn't go on a different avenue this time. Instead of doing a story, I decided to go with, it's a theme. It's like all the old chain letters.
Like the forward this or you will die?
Basically.
Nice.
None of them have any context. They're just creepy. I don't think I've ever actually gotten any of the ones that I have.
Okay.
But I'm kind of glad I never got any of these through my email. The first one is called I Am Teddy. And it says, as posted online in 2007. Hi, I am Teddy. Once you read this, you cannot get out. Finish reading this until it is done. As I said, I am Teddy. I am 7 years old. I have no eyes and blood all over my face. I am dead.
Oh.
If you don't send this to at least 12 people, I will come to your house at midnight and I will hide under your bed. When you are asleep, I will kill you. Don't believe me? Case number 1. Patty Buckles got this email. She doesn't believe in chain letters. Well, foolish Patty. She was sleeping when her TV started flickering on and off. Now she's not with us anymore. Ha ha, Patty. Ha ha. You don't want to be like Patty, do you? Case number 2. George Simon hates chainmail, but he didn't want to die that night. He sent it to 4 people. Not good enough, George. Now, George is in a coma. We don't know if he'll ever wake up. Ha ha, George. Ha ha. Now, do you want to be like George? Case number 3. Valerie Tyler. She got this letter. Another chain letter she thought only had 7 people to send to. Well, that night when she was having a shower, she saw Bloody Mary in the mirror. It was the biggest fright of her life. Valerie is scarred for life. Case number 4. Derek Mintz. This is the final case I'll tell you about. Well, Derek was a smart person. He sent it to 4, or I don't know where I got 4. He sent it to 12 people. Later that day, he found a $100 bill on the ground. He was promoted to head officer at his job, and his girlfriend said yes to his proposal. Now, Katie and him are living happily ever after. They have 2 beautiful children. Send this to at least 12 people or you'll face the consequences. If you send it to 0 people, you will die tonight. 1 to 6 people, you will be injured. 7 to 11 people, you will get the biggest fright of your life. 12 and over, you are safe and will have good fortune. Do what Teddy says. Hurry. Let's send to 12 people before midnight. I don't even know if I had 12 people in my email when we were in high school.
Yeah, I don't think I did either.
And I feel like the only person that ever sent me, like, creepy emails was my dad.
Jesus. Those emails used to freak me out as a kid.
Especially if it's like, oh, I have no eyes.
Yeah. Hold on. I don't know. I am not a fan of those kind of emails. And that's what this whole thing is?
Yeah, just different types.
Oh, great. All right.
There's one in here that's named Amanda.
Oh, good. Good. Right. On to the next.
Okay, the next one is called Carmen Winstead.
Oh, Carmen. That was my...
That was your Spanish name, wasn't it?
That was my Spanish name. I mean, I feel like that's almost insensitive. Like what we were told to do.
Pick a different name for Spanish class?
Yeah. Like, Spanish people don't just have Spanish names.
But I also feel like that was just, like, our school that did that. No, yeah,
it definitely was, because when I changed schools, I went into Spanish class and was like, my name's Carmen for Spanish class.
Your name is Amanda.
And my teacher was like, we don't do that here. And I was like, What? And I was very disappointed. Cool story, bro. Tell me about Carmen.
Hi, my name is Carmen Winstead. I'm 17 years old. I am very, very similar to you. Did I mention to you that I'm dead?
Oh, okay.
A few years ago, a group of girls pushed me down a sewer hole to try to embarrass me. When I didn't come back up, the police came. The girls said that I had fell and everyone believed them. The police found my body in a sewer. I had a broken neck and my face was torn off. Send this message to 15 people after you read the whole message if you value your life. A boy called David received this message. He just laughed and deleted it. When he was in the shower, he heard laughing. My laughter. It was in all caps.
Oh, okay.
He got really scared, rushed to his phone to repost this message, but he was too late. The next morning, his mom entered his bedroom, and all she found was a message written in his blood saying, "You will never have him back. No one has found him yet, because he is with me. Send this to 15 people in the next 5 minutes if you don't want your fate to be the same as David's. Your time starts now. This story is true. You can research it on Google."
Okay.
So I feel like this one was probably way after 2007. Was Google a thing when we were...
I forget what year Google was founded. I'll look it up while you're continuing on.
Okay, the next one is called Her Name.
Her Name?
Her Name.
Google was founded in 1998.
So it was a thing when we graduated from high school.
Also, we graduated before 2007.
A year before.
That's still before.
It wasn't a big deal at first, you know? It was just another online story. One you'd read in the comments of a YouTube video, designed to scare you into posting it on 8 other videos. You know the kind, where you die a horrible death, or your crush will reject you if you don't spread the word. For what? Those are two different, ends of the spectrum, I believe. You either die a horrible death, or your crush will not talk to you anymore.
I'm gonna take the first one.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't think anything of it at the time, but now it's the only thing I can think about. This comment started by saying that she hasn't left, and then whoever the person who posted it was, alone in days. And by reading this, she'll come for you. I don't even remember the exact wording because it was late and I was tired and I'd seen 100 other comments like it before. I forgot all about it until she started coming for me. It started with little things, a flash in the corner of my vision, a strange shadow on the hallway floor. Then it got worse. I started to hear whispering when I was alone in the house, giggling, the sound of footsteps. Now I know that she was teasing me. Sort of like how a cat will clamp its paw over a mouse's tail and bat at it before it kills it. Mirrors were the worst. She liked to stand just out of frame when I was brushing my hair, so when I shifted my head to get the other side, she would be there, standing next to the bookshelf with her long, tangled hair, matted with blood, falling down her shoulders. And that grin. Oh God, that grin.
First of all, you said this was left on a YouTube video?
Well, no, the thing left on the YouTube video just says, the comment said, "She hasn't left me alone in days, and by reading this, she'll come for you." And then I had some other wording. This is what happened to the person that posted it.
But so she didn't post all this in there?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Because I wouldn't read a YouTube comment that was that long.
Yeah, because I'm, spaced out, thinking about the fact that if I saw that as on a YouTube video, I'd been excessive. Moving
Flag.
Yeah, anyway, go on.
Okay. Her teeth were always bloody.
Ew.
I was never sure if it was her blood or I don't even know. Every night it seemed to get worse. I would see her on my way to class in the rearview mirror of my car, dragging her talon-like fingernails across her own rotting flesh as I stared in abject terror.
I didn't know I was going to want to vomit today. Ew.
For a while, I put it off to sleep deprivation. Finals, you know. And then she came to me.
I'm sorry. Wait. First of all.
Did you ever hallucinate and see somebody dragging their fingers across running flesh?
Not during finals week. Not ever.
No.
Like, my nightmare that I just most recently had was the fact that Joel and I were buying a house. And it didn't have an updated kitchen.
Have you been watching HGTV too much?
No, I haven't watched HGTV at all. I only found out the kitchen wasn't updated. This is so weird. But I only found it out after Joel told me his parents were going to help us buy the house. And then I saw the kitchen and I was like, never mind.
Oh.
But it was
this
like this
80s flooring. I can't have that.
No, it was so weird because it was like so vivid. And it was just so crazy because it was like over in that really big housing development that I always love to show you.
Oh,
that we
the
just
Christmas
drive through.
lights?
Well, they don't decorate for Christmas because they spend all their money on their mortgage. But I don't... Allegedly. But...
So, like, you recognized it from, like, that area? Or that's just where you thought it was?
Well, this is, like, where we were. But it wasn't, like, an actual house in that development. But it was, like, this big house. And I was so excited because... You know me, I want a really big house, apparently.
Until you saw the kitchen.
But, like, I was so excited about it. And then I saw the kitchen. And then I saw the floor plan. And there were only 3 bedrooms. Kind of set up how my dad's old house was set up. So, like, the master was on one side. And then, like, the 2 other rooms were on the other side of the house. I don't know what the bathrooms looked like. I don't know how many bathrooms there were.
Were there? It was just an outhouse.
Yeah, I don't know. But I was like, wow, this is a really big house to only be 3 bedrooms. And Joel was like, that's perfect. That's less for you to clean. And I was like, you're right. I am going to have... It was like, he was literally standing here like, your apartment is a fucking wreck. You don't need a big house. But I was like so in love with this house. And then I saw the kitchen and I was like, And then I woke up. So I texted him and I said, so when are your parents buying us a house? And he was like, LOL, good joke. And I was like, I don't know. I had a dream about it.
It's better than the nightmare I had last week.
Oh, you had a nightmare last week?
Do you remember that Snapchat I sent you?
Gonna have to be a smidge more.
Of the backyard with, like, the red circle.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can't look out the kitchen window. I cannot look at the backyard anymore. Actually, I looked at it this morning. It's been 13 days since I've had that nightmare. And I still cannot look at my backyard because I'm, like, terrified I'm going to see it again. It was just, like, I was in the kitchen and it was at night, but when I looked into the backyard, like, that one spot was, like, illuminated. And there was this woman with, like a long red dress with, like, long black hair that was, like, hanging down the front, like, kind of like the ring. And she was just standing there. And, like, I looked away and she, like, disappeared behind the tree that isn't there anymore. And then, like, I looked up and, like, every time it would, she'd be, like, closer. And then, like, at one point, like, I was like, I'm just gonna look away. It'll be fine. It'll go away. And I look back, and it's, like, right up against the window. And then I woke up terrified.
I'm not laughing at your dream. I'm laughing at your nightmare. I'm laughing at the fact that there are 2 kinds of people in the world. I'm like, my nightmare is being domesticated with my boyfriend.
And mine, there's some creepy-ass lady standing in my backyard.
Do you know, though, like, knock on wood, I've only had, I've had a couple vivid nightmares due to medication interactions when I was in grad school.
I wish I had that excuse.
But the only 2 other nightmares that I can vividly remember were from watching one of the Goosebump movies but I don't remember which one. I think
Like
it was
the TV show?
what was like the movie. Like they released movies for the books.
Oh, like they have like the TV shows.
Okay, maybe whatever it was. I had it on VHS.
Yeah, those were the TV shows.
Okay, whatever. I think it was the werewolf one. I think, but I could be wrong. And then, do you remember the night that I stayed at your house and we watched The Mummy, and that gave me nightmares? I like woke up like terrified. I don't remember what the nightmare was about, but I just remember the only thing that I could correlate with the fact that I had the nightmare
What
was
was that?
from watching The Mummy. And I have never watched another Mummy movie since then.
I'm saying that came out a while ago.
I mean, dude, it was when I used to sleep over at your house and we would sleep on your floor. So that was
That was a long time ago.
a very long time ago.
I had one right after Sharon died. Like, I don't even, like, to this day, like, I do not remember what the dream was. But all I remember is my mom waking me up and I was screaming.
Ooh, a night terror.
Like, she's like, Heather, she's like, if you would have heard it, she says, she's like, it sounded like you were being murdered. And I was just screaming. Like, I woke up and, like, I was terrified. And, like, I just started crying. She's like, what happened? I was like, I don't know. Like, I was so scared when I woke up. And then I was like, well, I can't sleep anymore.
Anyway.
All right. Okay. So, sleep deprivation from her finals.
Right.
That's where we were at.
Right. That was a
Okay.
very long tangent.
And that's when she came to her. It was late. So late, it was technically early. But I couldn't sleep because all I could hear was her giggling. I covered my face with the pillow and shut my eyes tight when I felt something cold on my hand. I was paralyzed with fear. It was sharp and it was cold and it was moving down my arm towards my elbow. Come out and play, she said in that lilting, upsetting voice I've heard one too many times before. I screamed and sat up, but she was gone for the moment. My biggest mistake was when I talked to her. I just stepped out of the shower, and she was right there when I opened the curtains. I shrieked and stumbled back, and she leaned down to me. Why? I asked. Why are you doing this? She told me why. It was because I knew something about her. That altercation ended with a serious head injury that landed me in the hospital. That's where I am now. I can't take this anymore. I'm just one person. It's too much. I know what I have to do. I think I always knew. God, I'm so sorry. I'm so, so sorry. Her name is Nora. She should be there soon.
So she did have to type that all up in a comment.
Probably. Oh, I guess so then. I
Too
guess
much.
when you know the name, she comes for you.
Oh, great.
Alrighty. The next one is called The Scream. One night, a babysitter was watching the neighbor's kids, as she often did, but this time for money. I guess she just did it for free.
What a gold digger.
She was given specific instructions to get the kids in bed by 9. She did so and afterwards went back downstairs to watch some television.
Some telly.
Yeah, I don't think she's in Britain, but
No.
she flipped through the stations when something struck her fancy. Maybe she is British.
Okay.
It was one of those X-Files type shows about haunted houses and graveyard encounters. She watched and became mystified at some of the, quote, actual footage, end quote, shot at a local graveyard.
Okay.
As she sat there, she decided that for the full effect, she should turn off the lights and continue to watch the program in the dark, curled up underneath a warm blanket on the sofa. The program seemed to last forever until they finally wrapped up with a spooky ending, claiming that all that have ever seen or heard of the graveyard ghosts have either died by fire or were traumatized to death. When the show was over, Donna was too frightened to get out from under the protective blanket to turn the lights back on or to check on the children. For now, it was nearly 11:30 p.m. It was dead silent, and Donna had developed a mild sweat from being curled up so tight under the blanket. She decided that on the count of 3, she would get up, run to the light switch and turn it on, and all would be well. 1, 2, 3, bam! Donna tripped and knocked the phone off the hook.
Of course she did.
What surprised her the most, however, was that she did not hear a dial tone. Maybe she accidentally ripped the phone out of the wall socket. This is an old email. No, she could hear something. She grabbed the phone and put it up next to her ear. She could hear breathing. What she heard next was something she would never forget. An ear-piercing scream penetrated her head, and flowed all through her body, chilling her to the bone. She jumped up and turned on the light, scared out of her mind. She decided to turn the TV back on and find a show that would calm her senses. She clicked on the TV and started flipping through the channels of static, finding nothing that would come in clear. This did not amuse her.
Did she get the light on?
Yeah, she jumped up and turned on the light, scared out of her mind.
Oh, but you just said bang. Because you said 1, 2, 3, bang.
Oh, she tripped. That was her hitting the floor.
Okay, but so did she reach the light or not?
Well, no, then she got up off the floor and turned the light
Oh,
on.
I missed that part. I was sleeping. I wasn't sleeping.
Okay.
Maybe I was.
She went behind the TV to see if she could fix anything when the phone rang.
Homegirl's trying to do too much.
Hello? All Donna could hear was the familiar sound of heavy breathing. Not wanting to hear that scream again, she immediately hung up the phone. What happened next frightened and surprised her. The piercing scream happened again. But wait, she hung up the phone.
Right, because the kids are being murdered upstairs.
The scream came from upstairs. In her mind, she felt she should go upstairs to check on the kids. The sensible part of her said that the kids were in trouble, but it would be foolish to put herself in the same situation.
Great babysitter.
She crept to the kitchen and found a knife. No, not the butter knife. She looked for another one. A steak knife. Yes, this was what she wanted.
Duh.
She walked to the foot of the stairs and looked up. Total darkness.
Although she should have went with the butcher knife, not the steak knife.
I would have walked my ass out the front door and left.
Isn't there a movie based off of this, I feel like?
Isn't it Missed Call?
Yeah.
Or no, When a Stranger Calls,
Yeah,
because
something
calls
like
are
that.
coming. I'm covering that in a different story. Those are urban legends, not chain letters. Should she turn on a light or should she creep up in the dark so as to be unnoticed? She decided that if it was dark, whoever or whatever was up there had the same sight disadvantages as she, and she would have a better chance of sneaking up on it. She walked up the stairs slowly, skipping the third step because she remembered that one was the one that creaked.
Well, that's a good memory.
Good thing it's not your mom's house. All the steps creak.
Yeah, there's no quiet spot to walk.
She made her way, knife in hand, to the top step, where she scanned the hallway for any shadows. She then went to the first door. She waited outside, clutching the knife in her sweaty fist. She listened for any sound. Nothing. Slowly, she opened the door. She could see nothing. She walked to the center of the room and felt around for the chain that turned on the light. She pulled on it and shrieked in horror. The children were all hanging from the ceiling by their necks, their guts spilling onto the floor. She turned to run out when she was blocked by a presence in the door. She felt her stomach get pierced by the razor-sharp edge of her own knife. It slid easily through her abdomen up to her rib cage. She dropped to her knees and screamed. The scream she heard from her own mouth was the exact same scream that she heard on the phone. She realized that what she heard on the phone was herself. At that moment, all was black. Pass this on to at least 10 other people, or you may find yourself in the same situation. If you don't believe it, just take your chances. It's worth an investment of a couple of minutes.
What if you don't babysit?
Or don't answer, I don't answer the phone if it rings.
Okay, well, this was probably sent before we had caller ID or cell phone.
I would still never answer the phone when it rang. Alright, are you ready to learn about Amanda?
Sure.
Are you ready, Brody?
He already knows I'm a crazy bitch.
Amanda was a very pretty girl
Oh, well, wrong.
with long black hair and beautiful green eyes. One night, she was getting ready to go out and meet her boyfriend. She was doing her makeup and her hair, choosing her best clothes. She walked down to the corner where she was supposed to meet him when somebody suddenly stumbled out of a pub, drunk and disheveled. Slowly backing away, she didn't realize who it was hobbling towards her until he got right up close. When she saw the angry, pasty face of her boyfriend, she began to run.
Oh, okay.
He ran after her, almost falling into the motionless road. The heel of her shoe snapped, and she tripped. Breathless and tired. Before she could stand up, he caught up with her. He dragged her into the field beside them, where he strangled her. Lying there, dead in front of him, with matted hair and a pale face, her eyes stared up at him. Thinking quickly, he crept into the garden of the neighbors, who ran a butcher's shop. He snuck into the preparation room where all the knives were. He took the first knife he saw and spent a half hour cutting Amanda into pieces. He buried each piece separately around the field before passing out, either from shock or alcohol poisoning.
One or the other.
Right now, Amanda's spirit is sitting beside you.
Okay.
She's reading every word of the scary email just as you are, but she's read it thousands of times. If you want to stay safe, Amanda will help you. Even dead, she is a sweet and kind girl. But her boyfriend died drunk, angry, and murderous. That is the way he stayed. If you spread this story to as many people as you can, Amanda will keep him away. After all, you can only die once. However, if you just laugh it off and delete this, well, she'll just laugh at your murder.
I would.
One boy laughed this off, and this is what happened to him. He was going for a shower. His mom was in the room below. She heard the shower turn on and the noise of him getting out. Oh, turn off, not on. And the noise of him getting out of the shower. Well, she thought it was him getting out. He didn't come downstairs. She shouted up and asked if he was okay. There was no reply. Worried, she ran up the stairs. The door was still locked. She chopped the door down with a butcher's knife, only to find her son hanging there in the shower, dead. He was dead. Amanda was laughing. She was there beside him, laughing.
Was Amanda laughing?
She might have been laughing.
Do you think she was laughing?
Just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
All right. This one's about MySpace.
Ooh.
There was a girl who was looking through MySpace profiles with her friend. They came upon this one MySpace profile that really unnerved them. It had strange creatures in the background, and the man in the profile picture looked like a complete psycho.
It was Tom.
Probably. His profile picture was like leaning forward all creepy. The girls laughed at how ugly and disturbing he was. Right then, a message popped up from Satan Stalker. Satan Stalker says, "So how do you like my MySpace?" And hers is capital X, little x, love me, that are alternating upper and lower case. What? Who is this anyway? You should know.
Ooh.
You're looking at my MySpace right now. And then she says, how do you know that I'm looking at your profile? He said, I know when people look at my MySpace. What? That doesn't make any sense. How? I just do. Especially pretty girls like you. Nice legs, by the way. The girl was wearing high
hooves.
Huh? The cloven hooves. Hooves. The girl was wearing high shorts when she tried to pull them down to cover what she could. The girls were starting to get freaked out. Okay, whatever, man. You're starting to scare me. He said, you should be afraid. You wouldn't want an ugly guy like me. I know what you said about me to your friend a minute ago. The girl and her friend were in shock. The girl's friend started to tremble, said, just block the psycho. And then she said, do you think he's watching us? And then he replied, you know I am.
Ooh.
And it wouldn't matter if you blocked me anyway. It wouldn't stop me from coming to your house. I know you two are alone. And she said, I'm going to leave now because you're really freaking me out. He says, your screen name says love me. Trust me, that won't be a problem. Just then, Satan Stalker signed off. The girl and her friend were really scared. To take their minds off the creepy guy, they went upstairs to her room and had a pillow fight.
As all girls do.
Laughing about it, they tried to tell themselves that it was just someone playing a joke on them. All of a sudden, the girl's friend said she had to go to the bathroom.
Mistake number 1.
The girl waited patiently for her friend to come back, but after 10 minutes, her friend still hadn't returned, and the girl started to wonder if something was wrong. Like, sometimes you have to poop. Like, sometimes it takes more than 10 minutes. Like,
this is why I pee with the door open.
Everybody poops. She knocked on the bathroom door, but there was no answer. The door slowly creaked open, and she saw her friend's dead body lying on the ground. Before she could scream, a man's hand came from behind her and covered her mouth. The next morning, the bodies of the two girls lay dead on the bathroom floor, covered in blood. Both of their... almost said their tails.
I heard.
Right underneath heads says nailed.
Uh-huh.
Both of their heads had been chopped off and nailed to the wall. If you not repost this in the next 2 minutes, there will be 3 men in your house tonight at 1:30 a.m. 1 in your bathroom and 2 in your room. Well, what are you waiting for? Repost or you're going to die. But that's all I got for my chain letters.
Yeah, chain letters used to freak me the fuck out.
Well, do you remember the ones that were the...
Alright, well, Those were fun. Thanks for letting me relive the early 2000s.
You're welcome. I'm always good for a blast from the past.
Yeah, we're going to do the Texas 7 and talk about them. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not until right now.
Alright, well, tune in for Murder Monday. In the meantime, find us on Instagram at In Reference To Podcast and Twitter at In Reference To, or on Patreon at whatever the link is, / In Reference To.
Or you can email us at inreference2
Podcast.
@gmail.com.
Yeah.
If you have any creepy stories, I want to read them.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll eventually be able to do a listeners episode.
If not, I just like reading creepy stories.
Yeah, or maybe Heather will look into, is that